unfortunately.
And I firmly believe, as many of you know from last week's wellness break that we did with the omega-3, amazing product from Andrew. You know, we can discuss all night long the integrity of this company and this brand and what Andrew puts into this. When he talks about purity, he really means it. When he talks about organic, he means it. When he talks about gluten-free, and when he truly tells you that this can help make a difference in your life, we mean it. So whether we're looking at oatmeal or oat bran, or we're looking at the one or omega-3s or healthy hair, skin and nails, all of Andrew's products conform to a same strategy, and that is to deliver the best that money can buy. That's why a lot of us will say it's the informed choice. I told Andrew many times, as I've told you, if I meet you in the mall or in the street and you ask, well, what's good on HSN? Andrew Lessman, the first words out of my mouth. If I see somebody taking a supplement, I say, is that an Andrew Lessman? If it's not, you should try it. So when you look at this, for anybody out there that wants to get healthier, that wants to lower cholesterol, that wants to be more heart healthy, oatmeal and oat bran is always going to be a nutritious, great way to start the day. The difference between buying Andrew's oatmeal or oat bran versus the store is that this is inherently better. It's better because of the plant sterols. It's better because of the integrity of the ingredients. It's better because it is gluten-free. It's better because it is all organic. So what you're putting in your body, and Andrew, I think that is so key in this day and age. We're all so busy. We're all so crazy. We're running around at work after the kids. We don't take enough time to stop and say, hang on a minute, what is out there that can really help improve the quality of our life today, tomorrow, and in years to come?
And you know, I think you're right, Adam, that we are so busy that we sometimes reach for the quick and easiest fix. And
yes.
Then we might not realize it, but the pharmaceutical and medical industry, and I sometimes sound like a broken record when I describe this, they make the fast food industry or the agricultural industry, they make them look small. Mm. We're talking about an industry that is trillions of dollars. Mm. $1 trillion is a million billion or a billion million. It's just a staggering number. And the influence they exert over how we perceive we should go about achieving our best health. Unfortunately, the supplement industry is insignificant, infinitesimal compared to the influence of pharma. But there are unbelievably powerful tools available to us in terms of reducing our cardiovascular risk, in terms of how we modify our diet. Something as simple as oatmeal and oat bran we've known about for years. It could lower your cholesterol a few percent. My oatmeal or oat bran, when you use it according to instructions, and it's very simple, it's a little quarter ounce or a quarter cup or a third cup serving. Each serving gives you 2 capsules of cholesterol. You start looking at reductions in total and LDL cholesterol of 10, 15, 20% or more. There are studies talking about these ingredients that they could deliver the same kinds of reductions with, say, a Mediterranean diet, a healthy diet, that we always had only thought was available from drugs. But when we look at the tools, you know, as I always like to call them, the God-given tools, right, Mother Nature's gifts that are available to us, all the cards aren't in the drug company's hands.
Right.
They're in our hands.
Yes.
If we pay attention and we take advantage of things, and with the oatmeal and oat bran here, we all know how powerful oatmeal and oat bran can be. Yeah. And we respect it for that. But imagine an oatmeal or oat bran that's 5 times more powerful, not 5%. 5 times more powerful, and that's the opportunity for cardiovascular health that we have here. Also promotes regularity. It's sugar-free. It's great for balancing our blood sugar. So it's just an all-around great thing to incorporate into a healthy diet, and a heart-healthy diet especially.
And really, just to reiterate, Andrew, what you just said, 5 times more powerful. I mean, we're not kidding around when we talk about this. So all Andrew is saying, all that we're saying tonight with our wellness break is, listen, for all those of us out there that love and enjoy our oatmeal or our oat bran, rather than buying that one, buy this one, because this is the one that's going to give you so much more in terms of be beneficial for you, your family, your health, your heart health. Not only that, the biggest question that I know comes through, and we were doing our own taste test backstage with the Monday Night Show team, but Andrew, as you are well aware, all of these benefits, quite honestly, would mean nothing if I took a mouthful and a bite of it and I didn't like the taste. And that's why you've ensured that this is not only creamy, but delicious.
No, it is the best oatmeal that anyone can find anywhere in this country. It meets the highest standards. And the amazing thing is that when we were first contemplating adding the cholesterol-lowering power